welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a great morning this morning. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we're always happy to be here with you. And we are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both / Wake Up Call DT. And I appreciate you being there on those channels, as well as wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're tuning into us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world, I cannot thank you enough for making Wake Up Call a part of your day, part of your morning. And we got up early this morning, so sorry I'm a few minutes back. I honestly, as I always am with you, I was eating breakfast. I was like, I want to actually eat some breakfast. So that's what I was doing. I was a few minutes late because I was eating breakfast and trying not to rush through it like I normally do. So welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. I'm so happy that you're here. We have a lot of great stuff coming up today. You know it's Friday, which means that we're hopping right into our trio of signature segments. The annoying moment of the week, all inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you the list of topics for the day. So we'll start things off with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Then we'll go on to Chick-fil-A Cicero, and I'm going to say that this was all on God, because the topic that I created for today for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver is what the acronym stands for. The topic for today just came to me. So I'm going to say that it came to me when I was putting everything together yesterday. And I'm going to say that this was all God of what you're about to hear in that respect. So I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to it. The top dog of the week is Amani Free. And Amani is going to be joining me from Costa Rica, where she's playing professional basketball after finishing up her time as a student athlete in college. And coming from Central New York, somebody I met when I think she was 12 years old. And now she is a professional basketball player. I'm very excited about that. So she's our top dog of the week, proudly presented by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. Normally, I don't tell you who it's going to be until we get to it, but we're going to be featuring Amani as our special guest. She doesn't know that she's the top dog of the week, but she will. You guys get to know before she does, so very excited for that. And we're going to round out the show in the last half hour or so, 10:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be sharing more from my coverage of the ACC, and that being my one-on-one conversations with my Q&As with head coaches as well as student athletes. So you're going to hear from Louisville today and head coach Jeff Brom and student athletes. You're also going to hear from Boston College and new head coach Bill O'Brien and student athletes from BC. And that is going to have a connection to Central New York, so you don't want to miss that connection. You're also going to hear from Clemson head coach Dabo Sweeney and a bunch of student athletes from there. So I'm very excited to share this with you. Very much looking forward to it, and it is now time, without further ado, to jump in to the annoying moment of the week to officially start off this Friday broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the fantastic team at Carvel DeWitt. Let's go.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, folks, here with us every single Friday. And, you know, man, do I have some thoughts for this week. And The first one is something that we all deal with, and I don't know if any of us necessarily enjoy it. Maybe some of us do that are antisocial, but the calling a business now, and not every business does this thing. Thank the good Lord, and hopefully that'll continue, right? That we'll have some that don't do this, but when you call a business and you get that automated system, right? You get that, "Hi, this is Stacy." No, it's not. "Hi, this is artificial intelligence," before people called it artificial intelligence, or it's just a recording, right? But when we see this, or when we hear this, it's like, okay, here we go. Here it is again. Now we got to go through the process. And it used to be that when you called a business and you heard the automated system, you would just dial 0, the phone would ring, and it would go to a human being. Well, they quickly caught on to it. And I don't know if businesses get paid more money the longer you stay on the phone with them, but there's something to be said about the fact that I feel like they got some benefit or some kickback from making you go through the process. Like, our average call is 14 minutes. No, it's not. Your average call is 1 minute and 37 seconds, but you just keep us in this situation where we're forced to listen to this automated system. So I did this recently. You do it when you call a place, and you think you can just dial 0, and you're like, I dial 0, I'm good. I dial 0, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. That's all I got to do is hit 0, we're fine. And that wasn't the case. So you go through the thing, and it's like, please hit, let's say I was calling a bank. Please hit 1 for loan. Okay, now, please hit 2 if you are a lender. Please hit 3 if you lost your card. Please hit 4 if you're opening a new account. Please hit 5 for more options. So then you hit 5. Please hit 1 if you are calling about a previous balance. Please call 6 if you're looking to make a payment. Or stay on the line if you're looking to speak to an assistant. So that you go through this whole, it's 2 minutes you've been on the phone now. And the whole thing is like, I had to ask a question because I had a charge that was on my account that wasn't supposed to be on the account. And it was a mistake that the merchant had made. The merchant admitted to the mistake, and they were taking care of it, thank goodness. But going through this whole process, this is the crazy thing. The bank that I was working with, or the company that I was working with, the credit card company, I gave them all the information about the false charge, like everything. And they're like, you didn't give us sufficient information, so we're leaving the charge in your account. And it was a double charge. And I was like, so the company that's supposed to protect their people wasn't protecting me. And in the meantime, I had called over to the hotel that had charged me wrong multiple times. First time, nobody answered. Second time, they're like, oh, we'll talk to a manager. Nobody did. Third time, oh, we'll talk to a manager. Nobody did. And then when I called that day, I called and it just rang and rang and rang and then turned into a fax. And then I kept checking to see if it was the right number, and it was. And I called again and nothing, and I called again and nothing, and I called again and I got the manager, and he was like, yeah, we know about this charge. The person that was doing this is no longer with us. And now I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, like, was somebody trying to steal money from people? And then he's like, no, we'll take care of it. He was super nice. He apologized. He's like, I know you come here a lot, so we'd love to continue to have you come and stay with us and have you here. And he took care of it. So I called my bank and said, hey, the merchant's good. They took care of it. They gave me an invoice that was to $0. They showed me the receipt. They gave me a transaction ID. Like, do you need all this information? And the lady was like, and I feel like I get the same lady every time for whatever reason. You call these automated numbers, and for some odd reason, I feel like I keep getting the same woman. But she was, she spoke broken English, and so, and that, I mean, it's fine. You come to this country for opportunity, right? My family, when they came here, I'm sure they spoke broken English. It's just hard when you're dealing with customer service to get through a problem when you have like a language kind of barrier back and forth. And so, I said to her, do you want me to send this information? I could send this over to you. And she's like, yeah, if you send us the information, then you're agreeing that we can like send you updates and different things on your email. I said, oh, okay. So by protecting my account that you didn't protect, you can spam me now. So that's an annoying moment of the week, right? In order for us to help you, we can spam your account. Oh, great. And another time when I called a place, the lady, and I don't know what this is about customer service, but they talk so low. Like you hear the music high and everything's high and your volume's all the way up. You finally get to a human being on this automated phone line and they're like, hello, how are you? And I'm like, good, how are you? Can I get your name? Da, da, da. And you go back and forth. And then they're like, now what seems to be the problem? And then you tell them what's going on. And all of a sudden they go from, hello, how are you? To, if I can help you. And I was like, what was that? And she's like, I was like, are y'all messing with me? See, I've been around the block long enough that I feel like sometimes people are just messing. Like, they just don't want to deal with you. So it's like, oh, we couldn't hear him. We couldn't hear him, so we hung up. You know what I mean? But that's what it feels like. Because you go through these calls and you're dealing with this stuff, and you're like, how do these people not, how do they speak so low? If you want me to. And you're like, hello? And I was like, ma'am, you got to speak up. You have to speak up. I can't hear anything that you're saying. And I remember I called Dell to have my computer fixed years and years and years ago. And the guy that answered the phone, he sounded like he was Indian, and you could hear it. I mean, you could hear his accent and everything. And he's like, my name is Roger. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, let's just be real with each other. It's not. And I felt so bad because he would speak so fast and he would speak with his accent. And I couldn't understand anything he said. So he was like, and I was like, what? And he was like, and I was like, sir, can you say that again? He's like, yes. He was like, and I was like, can you say it one more time? He goes, he said, can you turn your computer on? And I was like, you didn't say that before. Like, let's be real with each other. Nobody said that before. So, I mean, my annoying moment of the week, the automated systems taking forever to get to a human being. The fact that they figured us out, that they knew that we used to just call, hear the robot, and hit 0, and it used to work. Now it doesn't work. Now sometimes when you hit 0, they screw with you even more, and instead of them saying it's invalid, it sends you back to the beginning of the automated system. And if you've already been through 14 numbers, baby girl, pack it in. We're about to do it again. About to go through this ride that we don't want to ride on no more. And so, yeah, that's part of my annoying moment of the week. People speaking really low when you finally get to a human being. Like, they don't know that they're talking low. I said, if you can. I was like, are you on Mount Everest? Where are you? So, it's annoying. It's annoying. And it's frustrating for us because I think what businesses do, not all, but some, I think what they do is they just hope that if they leave you on hold long enough, you're just going to pay the charge. Or, you just get pissed off that you had to hit 14 different numbers to try and get to a human being. That's what people don't understand. And I tell people all the time, whoever answers the phone, I'm like, hey, this isn't your problem. You've heard me a little bit frustrated today going through this process. I just want you to know it's not your fault, which you obviously know, but I'm trying to figure this out. And what I don't like is when you go and you call a person, you go through the automated, you get to a person, you tell them your story, and then they go, okay, let me patch you over to this person, and they drop the call. That feels defeating, doesn't it? Or when they put you over to the person, and then you just talk to this person for 25 minutes, and now they put you into a new person, and they go, hello, what's your name, and what seems to be the problem? And then you tell them the problem. I did that with a cable company. I'm not going to say who they are. It rhymes with rectum. But I went through a process with them years ago, and they've been good because, again, it took me years. It took me years to find a good customer service person in their local area. It took me years to find. Well, I shouldn't say it took me. I found like 4 over the span of 12 years. But it took me 2.5 years to finally get my price down. And then they screwed it up again. And then I had to call somebody else, and they were wonderful. But going through the process and telling the process over again. You're like, why did I talk to someone? They just patched me through to you. Do they not tell you why I'm calling? Is there not something that they're typing that they keep a log? Why do I have to tell you again? So what I'm really trying to say is it's become very impersonal to deal with certain businesses out there, which has made it really, really sad because it's become this thing where we, as human beings, just want to be heard. We just want to figure things out. We just want to have some peace of mind with whatever's going on. And if the business screwed it up, it's like we're already calling you for a mistake that you made, right? And you're making us jump through hoops to try to fix it. And I think in certain cases that's on purpose so that they don't have to jump through those hoops. We just jump through the hoops. They don't have to fix anything. I mean, how many times did you realize you got a charge on your on a phone bill or internet bill or something like that that wasn't a real charge, like it wasn't your charge? How many times did you look down and go, well, what the hell is that? And I think a lot of times people just hope. I had that cable company I mentioned before that rhymes with rectum. I called them one time and I spoke to this one guy and he said, we will continue to charge you every single year for the same stuff. We won't add anything new to it, but we'll continue to up the charge. So let's say the charge is $70. We'll continue to up it, and we have the right. I don't know who gives them this, but we can up your charge all the way to $200 from wherever you're at. If you're at $40, $70, $100, we could bring you all the way to $200 before we stop. And if nobody calls us every single year to fight the charge, then we just keep the charge on. So they literally just hope that you don't care, that you don't look at it, or that if you do look at it, you don't feel the need to call. That's what they hope. And I'm talking to this guy about it on the phone that works for the company. And he's telling, I appreciate his honesty, but he's saying, hey, we're going to raise your prices. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And unless you call to fight it, they're going to stay raised. And we can raise it all the way to $200 from wherever you started. My mom called one time. My grandmother was paying for HBO, Stars, all these channels. My grandma watched like 3 channels. Her cable bill was $160 or something like that. And my mom's like, they're like, well, you bought this package. My mom's like, no, we didn't. My grandmother didn't buy it. So either you put it on there taking advantage of an old woman, or you called her, she answered, and she had no idea what she was agreeing to. So, and we talk about hackers and spamming and all of these like fake phone calls and people stealing your money and screwing you over and all these things that happen now in the digital world. Think about how bad it is now. But back in the day, if you were an older person, they would just call you at home. They would talk to you. And if you were nice, they were like, oh, we could take advantage of this person. Now there's 7,000 ways to take advantage of people of all different ages. It used to be like, oh, we'll take advantage of children and old people because they're not going to know what we're talking about. So that's why your mom's like, give me the phone. We're not interested. Hang up. Or, we would have to take the phone away from my grandmother's and say like, grandma, like this person's trying to scam you and this and that. Now it's so easy to do. Now people do it all the time. They do it whenever they feel like it. They do it at 3 o'clock in the morning when people are sleeping. So, those are annoying moments of the week because we live in this digital age. And people would say, Dan, yeah, you're on the internet, right? You get out to people all over the world. You use the internet video. You use the audio. Yeah, I do. I use it for a positive. But there's a negative side to it, right? When you call me, you don't get an automated service. If you call my number to get in touch with me, to talk to Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, be it Wake Up Call or Super Powered Pop or Do Diz with Dan or Comic Book Trails or Two Mics No Filter or whatever we're doing, that's me. If I give you my number, you have my number. And I'm picky about the number, giving it out, but when I give it, you got it. And then if you call me, you're going to hear from me. You're going to hear from me on the answering machine. You're going to hear from me when I call you back. And I like to answer the first time that somebody calls. If I'm in a meeting, typically I will not, unless it's some type of an emergency, or if somebody calls multiple times. I remember, I think I was like, I don't even know. I was doing something. My mom called me like multiple times in a row. And I called her up. I was like, Mom, you good? Is everything okay? She goes, yeah, I just want to know how your morning was going. And I was like, Ma, I love you and I appreciate that. And that's so sweet of you. But when you call me twice in 3 seconds, I'm thinking, who's in the well? Who's trapped? Do we need to get Lassie? What's going on? So, but I no matter how big, I don't know what that just was that I just did. I don't know why I just did that. I have no idea. But my brain was like, yeah, no, do it. Okay. And so, but yeah, when you look at life and all this automation for my business, no matter how big I get, I'm always going to answer the phone, and when I want to talk to somebody, and I'll call you. I might not, let's say I'm in a building, I'm on the 21st floor and there's 500 people that applied for this, that, and the third. No, I can't get to all of that in the moment, but I'm going to do my best to get in touch. I'm going to do my best to get back to the people that I want to get back to talk to the people I want to talk to. And I think that that's something that the people that I truly love can say. Like, hey, when we need him, he's here. No matter how busy he gets, we hear from him every day or every other day. If he doesn't call us, he texts us, but he really does try to call us or he reaches out to us. I would like to think that the people that are in my life businesses. I went to the fair yesterday and went and saw Ma and Pa's. I've told you all, if you do nothing at the fair, except for one thing, go to Ma and Pa's. You will not regret it. It's like going to the fair when you go to their store, 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, which will be opened after the fair because they're all working the fair right now. But Ma and Pa's and Spud Shack, which is part of the Ma and Pa's family, there's 2 Ma and Pa's locations. There's a giant trailer. There's a tent. And then there's the Spud Shack trailer. And Spud Shack has all different types of fries. Fresh cut fries, bacon cheese fries, curly fries. What else do they have? Ribbon fries. Love the ribbon fries. I love them all. I had the curly fries yesterday. So if you do nothing at the fair but one thing, go to Ma and Pa's. They literally, it is like going to the fair in one sitting. It is so awesome. Truly, folks. It's awesome. They have cotton candy, funnel cakes, deep fried Oreos, lemonade, kettle corn, popcorn, freeze-dried candy. That's all at the Ma and Pa's stuff, right? On top of that, Spud Shack has all the fries. So you're getting all that sweet and savory, and then you go on with your day. I literally told the owner, I told Jim, and I told people working at Ma and Pa's yesterday, I said, I've told people on the show, and I've told people off the air, if you go to the fair, make sure you go to Ma and Pa's, even if you don't do anything else. Just go to Ma and Pa's. It's so worth it. And I did that yesterday. I got cotton candy. I went to Spud Shack. I got curly fries. I was in my element. I love cotton candy, by the way, because I'm a child. So, I am. I will always be a kid at spirit. And so, yeah. So that's spinning it to a positive is when I'm dealing with these automated phone calls. I go to the fair and I visit my friends. But what I was getting to was Jim is the owner of Ma and Pa's, and him and I have worked together for 5 or 6 years at this point. And I just went over to the trailer and we started talking while he was in the trailer, and then he came out of the trailer, and then we did a video together, and then we kind of just stood and talked for a while. And before you know it, half an hour goes by, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that, because because of those relationships, right? You don't get those relationships between businesses when you're not connected in that way. So, that's the thing that means a lot is when you have that connection and you have that love and, you have that respect for each other, then you do that, right? When you have those moments that you want to take together and spend time together and do things together, and you take the time to take the time, that's what really means something. That's what ends up building relationships. So, I shout out the businesses that still care about relationships and bonding with people. I shout out the businesses that don't go fully automated. or 99% automated that takes forever to get to a person. But I do understand that some businesses have to have automation. Don't get me wrong that I think you don't have to have automation. Like if you're a hospital, I get it. You got a million departments and this and that and whatever. So I understand you got some work to do and you got a lot of people doing that work. So I get it. All I'm saying is when you make it a nuisance and a hassle for the people that are trying to do business with you and trying to get answers and whatnot, it doesn't help anybody. And by the time that person gets to you and then people that are working at that business are like, why is this person so mad? Because they've been on hold for 5 hours. You know what I mean? Like some of these, I remember my mom called to try and find my luggage a few weeks ago when they had that glitch going on and whatnot. And she's like, I'm on the phone for an hour and a half. This other lady was on the phone for 4 hours. So, you know, I mean, that's the issue. It's not something that people love dealing with, but we deal with it, right? We work through it together. Jerry said I have to deal with medical answering services every week. Right, Jerry, and you're already going through enough. You shouldn't have to deal with all that stuff. But we do, right? And you got to listen to the message and figure out who it is. Or you get a phone call and they're like, you know, we're calling you from this business to talk to you. Call us back, da-da-da-da. And then you call back and they're like, well, what did you need? I'm like, I don't know. Somebody called me. And I literally called a few days ago, this one place, and they said, well, I got to try and find the person that called you. Okay. I mean, I probably could have gone back to my answering machine and been like, it was Mark, right? But in my thing, I was like, if it's important, then just let me know, right? You take down my information. But it's just a hassle. It's a hassle in today's world because people have gotten really insincere and they've gotten really kind of, they've lost the formal, the connection. And so and some people just don't want to deal with people. So they put you through all these hoops just hoping that you're going to give up. And I would tell you all what my parents taught me. Don't give up. If you're doing the right thing, if somebody overcharged you, if you're trying to get answers to something that's bothering you or that you don't understand, don't give up. That's what they want. Don't do it. Not everybody, but don't do it. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep striving. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. My mom and I got answers about my grandmother years after, you know, I remember saying to my mom, somebody should be able to help. We should be able to get some help. There should be some. My mom's like, no, there's nothing. Nobody can help us. Nothing. There's nothing. And then 2 years or so goes by and we find out all of this stuff. They should have been paying for this. They should have been getting her this. They should have got her a wheelchair. They should have brought this in. They should have given us these things. They should have told us that this was there. And it's, you know, it's crazy. But the reality is people aren't going to tell you that you got money coming to you. People aren't going to tell you that you got a discount. People aren't going to tell you that they should have taken that charge off. You got to do the work. And my mom told me that a couple days ago. She goes, you know, there's a wrongful charge. You tried to fix it and you're going to have to keep trying to fix it or else you're just going to have to accept the charge. So I kept going. I got off the phone with my mom. I made the phone call and I fixed it. Don't give up. Robot's named Sarah. We know it's not a person. So, hi, I'm Sarah. No, you're not. I've met some crazy people, but I have not met someone that talks like that. Not yet, and hopefully never. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. I could do the annoying moment of the week all 2 hours today. I'm feeling it. I'm in it today. So, annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It is what happy tastes like. Head out to Carvel DeWitt today. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you, or you can just say DT sent me and enjoy Carvel DeWitt today. We appreciate y'all. We'll take a step aside. And my DT Dolphin Sunday is exclusively at Carvel DeWitt. It's an ode to the Lemoyne Dolphins. It is mint chocolate chip, ice cream, green, of course, for the Dolphins, hot fudge, whipped cream, a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. Gosh darn it, there's nothing like it. Go and get it today. 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York at Carvel DeWitt, exclusively the DT Dolphin. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315 638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And it is time for me to hop into LEAD, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. It is the acronym that we have that comes to you as our second signature segment every single Friday, and it's proudly presented by the fantastic team at Chick-fil-A Cicero. That's Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York, right by the Home Depot. And, of course, you can get Chick-fil-A Cicero in our segment, The Light Between Us, which is our video series we do monthly with the team members of Chick-fil-A Cicero, and you get to know them. You get to know their stories, their journeys, what brought them to Chick-fil-A, the positivity that they've gone through, the adversity that they've gone through, and just the people that they've become up to this point and the faith that they have as well. So great segment with Chick-fil-A Cicero, The Light Between Us, and you'll find that on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Just search The Light Between Us and you'll see all of our videos with all of the team members that we've talked to over the years. And then, of course, our other segment being LEAD, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. Today's topic, Blessed Are the Peacemakers. Why'd I pick this today? Well, simple. I picked it today because we live in a world that is in desperate need of peace. Desperate need of peace. So, blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are those that are trying to provide calm, love, compromise. In the Bible, it says, it's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 9, it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." It appears in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, because they will be called sons of God or children of God." Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. So why'd I pick that today? Why is that the one that I'm going with? Well, of all the topics that we've talked about a lot here on LEAD. we live in a world where it's easy to be chaotic. And it's easy to not be at peace. And for someone like myself who's fought for their peace for so long and fought to have it, fought to keep it, fought to sustain it, and to share it with people, help other people find theirs, I know that these past couple weeks, I kind of got hit from all different things happening in my life. It was, this person lacks common sense. This person did something they weren't supposed to do. This person talked behind my back. This person didn't pay me. You know, this person disrespected me. That person disrespected me. This person's not doing their job. And I found myself not being at peace. I found myself getting frustrated. I found myself being very uneasy and uncomfortable and annoyed. And it was consuming my time, consuming me. Because in today's world, it's easy to not be at peace. You know, I talked to my mom and dad about this. I said over the last few years, politics and false journalism. What do I mean by false journalism? People who call themselves journalists, but they're one-sided. People who call themselves journalists, but they treat people very differently. It's agree with me or else. Agree with me or I'll try to bury you. And that's not real journalism. That's control. People worry about socialism and communism. Well, when the media mostly speaks in one direction and protects only one side, that's scary. That's really scary. And, you know, I'm not saying this as I'm on this side and I'm on that side. I'm saying this as someone who's in the media. When the media starts to tell you that they know better than you do and they'll tell you what to believe in, and then you hear people regurgitate the things that they say, you're like, wow, brainwashing people is a lot easier than I thought it was. That's sad and scary and crazy and very like movie, but not in a good movie, very cinematic in a bad way. It's easy to not have peace. And I said to my parents over the last few years, I'm like, you know, I'm just not at peace. You know, I see all these things. I hear all these things. I watch the news for a half an hour and my heart's wanting to jump out of my chest. And these past couple weeks, I've had a lot of really awesome blessings. And I've also had people that have treated me very unfairly, they've been rude, they've been ignorant, they've been naive, they have been illogical, irrational, nasty, just hurtful and controlling and just downright not human. And I found myself not at peace. And when we're not at peace, we seek peace. But what does Jesus say in the Bible? He says, be peace. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Not, I'll give you peace and call you my kids, but that I want you to make peace. Make your peace, and you'll be called children of God. You know, you'll be Jesus's brother. You'll be God's child. You will be a child of God if you make peace, if you create peace. It doesn't say, blessed are the people I give peace to. It says, blessed are the peacemakers. And it was hard these last couple weeks to make peace. To make peace with the fact that I couldn't change a lot of the things I was going through. To make peace with the fact that not everybody listens. To make peace with the fact that not everybody cares. To make peace with the fact that some people are totally fine disrespecting people. To try and make peace in areas where peace was very difficult to find. So I ask you today, as you're listening and watching around the country and the world here on Wake Up Call, where in your life are you not at peace? Where in your life do you feel lost? Where in your life do you feel most uneasy? Because we have to look at those areas. Because if you don't administer to a crack, the crack gets bigger. You know, when I look back on relationships that I've had, friendships, romantic, whatever, and I look at the ending of many of them, I realized that I was dealing with a lot of selfish people, and I was banging my head against the wall because I don't like being selfish. And I would bend over backwards for people and get not much in return, you know. And when I stopped giving, I didn't get anything. Relationships ended. You know, and people think like, oh, this relationship ends because of this relationship ends because of that. With me, relationships end now. If you try to disturb my peace, I don't care how much fun we have as friends. I don't care how much we laugh. I don't care how much you pay me as a business. I don't care how pretty you are as a girl I'm dating. If you try to destroy my peace, the beauty goes away, the money goes away, the laughter and the fun and the this, that all goes away. Because when you've taken your whole life, like me, to find your peace, and you think to yourself, man, it took me over 30 years to find peace, why would you give that up? And Jesus calls us, God calls us to be peacemakers, to make our own peace. That if we want to be called children of God, if we want to go home to heaven, we have to make peace. See, when we think about peace, we think about war. Well, peace, Dan, is when we stop fighting. Peace is also to not start fighting. Let me say that again. I say peace is when you stop a war. Peace is when you don't start one. And what I've realized in life from having many conversations with many people, if somebody screws me over in business, I've been there, done that. So when somebody does it now, why am I going to get mad? Do I like it? No. Do I have to work through it and go point by point? Yeah. But you go through hell in your past so that you don't go through it the same way in your present, or that you don't go through it at all. I shouldn't say you don't go through it at all. As an example, like bad business is going to happen. I can't be like, God, I had bad business twice in the last 10 years, so I don't ever need to have it again. God would laugh and go, maybe you're going to have it. But the thing is, when you have it again, how do you deal with it this time? How do you handle it this time? Are you yelling? Are you screaming? Are you crying? Are you calling up your family and driving them nuts? Are you staying up late at night? Are you worrying about this? Are you cursing out God? Or are you going, okay, I've been here. It's not fun. It's not good. Let me weigh my options. Let me see what I can do. Right? And to stand firm on what you can do. Because 9 times out of 10, if somebody is doing bad business with you and they're doing you dirty, the moment that you try to do right by yourself, a person doing you dirty isn't going to go, oh, yeah, let me do right by you too. If they're already doing you dirty, they've shown you that they can cross that line. And if you try to bring the line back, they're probably going to fight for that line even more. So I would tell you to stand firm in who you are, right? Because 9 times out of 10, people that are trying to screw you over and take advantage of you, the moment that you try to stop that, they're probably not going to like that. They'll consider it a threat. And I find it interesting in life that when you work to become peaceful in your job, in your romance, in your family, your friends, by yourself, when you seek peace in your neighborhood, chaos will be very upset with you. See, people think once I choose peace, I'm just going to, and I'm going to be in a Corona commercial on a beach somewhere. That's not how peace works. We typically find peace in the middle of a storm, in the middle of an ocean, when our ship is small and the waves are high and they are large. That is typically where we are called to find peace. And I have a quote behind me. I'm trying to think where it is. Oh, it's right over my shoulder here. So if you look, to those of you that are watching here, oh, you can't see it with the chair. So it's right there. It's right behind the black flag, which is the We the North flag the BB-8 is holding. It says, sometimes God calms the storm, other times he calms the sailor. And I feel like there was a storm that came over these last couple weeks, and God was like, all right, sailor, you got to calm down. You got to calm down, right? Your parents don't want to hear you like this. I don't want to hear you like this. Nobody wants to see you like this. You're better than this. So let's figure this out. Let's figure it out. We're not going to figure it out by getting mad about it. We're not going to figure it out by repeating things that we've said for 10 years. See, because what my parents can say to me is one of the things that was an issue these last couple of weeks. My parents are like, this organization has never been a good organization. Every time you deal with them, it is a shock in the moments where they're good. It's a shock when they're on time. It's a shock when they do things right. It's a shock when they're fair. It's a shock when they're decent. It's a shock when they're respectful. My mother said it again a couple of days ago. She goes, it would be a complete probably shock to you if they did something nice to you. So my mom and dad, what they were trying to say to me was, you spend over a decade dealing with a certain group of people, and it has to do with something you love to do, so those people are going to be there no matter what. Why are you getting upset? You know the lack of character that these people have. You know who they are. So why be upset and frustrated? Yes, it's wrong. Yes, any human being who cares about themselves would go, people shouldn't talk to you like that. They shouldn't treat you like that. They shouldn't double standard you like that. But what my parents were saying were they've lied, cheated, stolen for over a decade, probably longer. They've treated you poorly. They've probably treated other people poorly. And it's who they are. It doesn't make it right, but why are you going to get upset about it? You've had the same conversation with us since 2009, 2008. You know, it's been the same conversation because those people don't change. So you can either continue to talk about them, waste time and energy, or you can say, yes, this situation is unfair. No one's arguing that. But what are we going to do about it? Because we've been dealing with unfair situations with these people forever. You know, and I find that when people talk to me, they talk to me like Dan will always understand. And you might be one of those people. You might be nodding your head right now. Those people that go, oh, you know, Sarah's going to understand. Beth is going to understand. Kira's going to understand. Bob's going to understand. James is going to understand. Pete's going to understand. Whatever you do, they're going to understand. They're going to understand. And yes, we are understanding, but I put this post up this week. Don't confuse kindness with weakness. Don't confuse the fact that we want to be peacemakers and want to be children of God with us being weak. We're strong. The strongest people are the ones that don't yell and scream and swear and call you names and do an eye for an eye, that don't fight you physically and verbally. Those are the strongest people. The strongest people are the ones that are treated poorly and have the ability to, and it's not that it's not that someone doesn't lack this ability, it's that you have to work at it. The strongest people, in my opinion, are the ones that are treated the poorest and can stay peaceful and calm and not lose control. Those people are the strongest people. So blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God, because the peacemakers keep it together. The peacemakers help to establish peace. The peacemakers find a way to stay even keel at a time where most people are running around screaming. They ask you a question: in a zombie apocalypse, who would you rather be with? A person who is looking outside, crying, screaming, saying, we're all going to die, we're all going to die, we're all going to die, running around and has no plan and doesn't know what to do, and is like, and then eventually just goes off to a corner and just starts hysterically crying? Or do you want the person that's calm, looking out the window at the world flipped upside down, and everything inside of them is in pain? Everything inside of them is terrified. Everything inside of them is. But they stay positive. They come up with a plan. Who would you rather have in a crisis? A person who is freaking out and losing it, or a person who says, we're going to make it? A person who says, yeah, there's zombies outside. There's aliens on the roof. There's zombies coming through the front door. The world's on fire, but you know what? We got this. Would you rather have that person? And you can call them crazy, and you can call them insane, and you would say that they don't know this and they don't know that, and how could somebody think such a thing? How could somebody believe that you're going to be okay in a crisis? But you know what, folks? If you're going to be okay, or you're not going to be okay, if things are going to be hard, if things are going to take time, if things are going to be difficult, whatever is going to come your way, I would rather do it with someone who is peaceful, in control of themselves, positive, because this world in the last 2 weeks tried to shake me. And I shook a little. But I ain't going to shake all my leaves off. I'm a fall baby, but I'm not shaking till I got nothing left. I shook a little. And now I'm working toward that peace. And I hope you are too. Lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back with our top dog of the week, Miss Amani Free, right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Those are worldwide channels, so you can catch them anywhere, including in Costa Rica, where we have our guest on the phone with us. And there's a lot of ways for me to introduce this guest, but she doesn't know this, and I'm going to share this with her right now. I told y'all before I told her, but she's our top dog of the week. Top dog of the week, probably presented by K9 Kamp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. Lily loves it there. Right off of Bridge Street in East Syracuse, the dog daycare is 315-437-7110. Call them today to see if you can fit your dog in and have them being taken care of for the day. Over in East Syracuse, you can go for more information at K-9KAMP.com. You can also go to K9 Kampground Dog Boarding for longer-term care for your dog. Every dog gets a cabin. They get to have their own area to themselves, their own bed, their food, their water. And some of the dogs that like to watch television, they get TVs in their cabin too. It's like going to a hotel. Like if you want to go to a really nice hotel, you got to call early and you got to ask for those rooms. So make sure you do that. K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Get more information on the K9 Kampground Dog Boarding of East Syracuse by going to KAMP ground.com. So with that being said, my top dog of the week, well, there's a lot of things that I can say about Miss Amani Free. So the first thing that I'll say is that I met her back in the day when she was a kid just loving basketball. And she was over at CNS doing her thing, working the best that she can. Then she moves forward. She goes to Long Island Lutheran. She challenges herself even more so. And then we see Quinnipiac. And then we see her travel down to the great state of Alabama. And now Costa Rica. Amidst all of this, Amani worked at Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Her and I got to work hand in hand on a lot of things. Got to have a lot of fun, and I got to see her grow as a human being, not just in what she was doing on the court, but what she was doing off the court. We started a show called Free Talks, and I got to see a strong, capable, amazing, very talented person come out of her shell and truly start to see more of her worth. And now I see a grown woman who knows who she is. So top dog of the week, this is easy for me. Not just because we're celebrating pro basketball and her being in Costa Rica and in nicer weather than I'm in right now, but because of the fact that she has been one of the greatest stories that I've gotten to watch with a front row seat. So with that being said, Amani Free is here with me from Costa Rica. What's up, Amani? How we doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And Amani, you know, like I said, this has been a lot of years that you and I have known each other, been around each other. When you look back on this road and you look back on your life, who is Amani Free? What would you say?
I'd say I'm a lot of different things. I can't just put myself into one category.
Yeah.
I am a daughter. I am a sister. I'm an aunt. I'm a basketball lover. I'm passionate about journalism and sports broadcasting. I'm a friend. And I'd like to say I'm a sister to people that I consider are like my closest friends.
Yeah, and like you said, and said it so well, that you are so many different things, and in each of those things, and all making up who you are and what you become. What's been some of those moments on the road from Central New York to Quinnipiac to down in Alabama to where you are now? What have been some of those moments that maybe you stop and you think about a little bit longer than other moments? Is there something that comes to mind that you say, hey, this was a turning point, this was a fork in the road, this was a moment for me that really sticks out?
I think everyone comes to a point in life where they feel like they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're not where they're supposed to be yet. And that's when I really just look at God and ask him for direction and clarity, and just take that moment to realize, hey, I think I'm not where I'm supposed to be because I let outside things influence me. But internally, I have to know that God has a plan for me and trust and believe in that.
And you talk about God and you talk about that faith, and I think, to me, I know that's the biggest thing, is you were unafraid to talk about God when you and I spoke on an air and off the air years ago. And here we are speaking now post-college for you, and I'm still hearing God in the first few minutes of us talking. Why has God taken that front seat in your life, and why does God continue to have it?
I think a big part of that is from my mom. In youth, she's always instilled in me, like, trust and believe in God. And then as I grew up, I continued to really invest myself and really study the Bible and just get my relationship closer to God, because I know at the end of the day, he is the one that is guiding my heart, my mind, my body, my soul. So that's really what's been influenced me through all these years.
Have you found, I mean, we're human beings, so sometimes we like to tell God we know better. Have you found a deeper trust and faith over time to say, like, hey, God, I'm not going to be so quick to jump and tell you that I know better than you do?
Oh, most definitely. I think, like I said earlier, there are points in times where you feel low, where you're not sure if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, or you're going the direction you're supposed to be. But you just got to continue to have that faith and trust and believe in him, because at the end of the day, he is going to do what's best for you. He will never harm you.
Yeah, coming from Amani Free here. Amani, you and I, when you were at Quinnipiac, we did some things, and then you went down to the great state of Alabama, and we had talked about that when you had made the decision to continue your college basketball career, but to do it elsewhere. And when you went over to Alabama A&M, you and I kind of spoke going into it, but we didn't talk about the path through Alabama A&M. What was your experience like there?
I actually had a really great experience. Coach Richards and the Alabama A&M women's basketball team really made me feel comfortable leaving my home state, especially with being so far for like the first time in my entire life. The A&M community was really welcoming, just overall as accepting me as an individual, not just as an athlete. I met a lot of great people, made some great friends, and it was just overall an amazing experience.
Like you said, you learn a lot about that, the transfer world that we live in today. Many people are utilizing it. Some are utilizing it 3 colleges in 4 years, 4 colleges in 4 years. You utilize the ability to be able to move and see what else was out there. Hindsight 2020, are you happy that you went out to Alabama A&M, that you went away from home, like you said, for the first time in your life that far away? Do you feel like ultimately that decision has aided you not just in basketball, but in strengthening who you are?
Yes, I do believe that. I think if I hadn't left, I wouldn't have grown as much as I did as an individual, as an athlete. Spiritually, I don't think I would have grown as much. So overall, I think this was the best decision for me at that time.
And now you're in Costa Rica. Bring me into how this happened. And I feel like I just heard some birds chirping out there. I feel like I'm picturing what I think Costa Rica is looking like right now, and then I hear that bird, and I'm like, she's living in, like those old Disney movies where you wake up in the morning and the birds are like, "What's up?" You know what I mean? And then everybody's having a good time. Nobody's bothering anybody. We talked about in the last segment, Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero, that blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And it sounds so peaceful out in Costa Rica. Bring me into how this happened. How did you end up coming out of college and finding yourself playing pro basketball in Costa Rica?
So I have a friend from Quinnipiac who's also my teammate and one of my closest friends that I consider my sister. Her name's Erin McClure. She just launched her own company named Globally Known, and she connected me to this Costa Rica league saying, "Hey sis, I think you'd be a great fit. I think you should apply." And I was very hesitant at first. I wasn't sure, for one, if it was my direction that I was supposed to go or if I was even going to be accepted. But at the end of the day, I did fill out the paperwork. I sent it to her. And she messaged me that night. She was like, "Hey, the draft is tonight." And I just sat there with God in that moment of draft night. And I said, "Hey, if this is my calling, let it be. If not, I can accept it." And not even 5 to 10 minutes later, I received a phone call saying, "You have been selected in this year's draft."
And that to me is amazing. Now, we all know that sometimes when we pray to God, it takes a lot longer than 5 minutes. So, but in your case, I mean, how amazing is that the faith that you've had and leaning on God and not on your own understanding, to have a moment like that where you're like, "God, hey, I did everything I could. I put out the paperwork. If this is where you want me to be, then just show me, just let me know. Like, God, if this is the direction, just help me to know." And that 5 to 10 minutes later, you get a phone call, "Hey, you've been drafted." Did you cry? Did you look up at him? And did you make a little... See, I would make a little joke with him. I'd be like, "God, when I put the paperwork in for that other stuff, I'm still waiting." But what did you say to God when it happened?
All I could do was thank him and, again, just say, "Hey, on this journey, just continue to give me clarity and direction and just guide me throughout this, because this is my first time being overseas, and even further than Alabama, I'm even further away from my family, my friends." And I was a little bit nervous. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew that if I trust in God, that I will be all right.
Amani Free, our top dog of the week, and someone that I have known for many, many years, here with us from Costa Rica today. I don't know if we've been there before. I know that Wake Up Call in some way, shape, or form has been connected to people that have watched, listened, read, or in some way, shape, or form found us in the United Kingdom, England, of course, a part of that, France, Spain, Italy, Mexico. I want to make sure I don't forget places: Canada, Russia, China, the Middle East. We've been in a bunch of different places. I don't know if we've ever been to we've been to Australia, that people have listened there, but I don't know if we've ever been to Costa Rica. And now that you are a Costa Rican basketball player, you are a pro player in Costa Rica, Amani, because of you, look at you still working for Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. We are now in Costa Rica. I mean, how crazy is that you and I are talking right now? I mean, when you were here in Central New York, we were, I don't know, 12 minutes away from each other, 15 minutes away. You went from Central New York to Quinnipiac, which was over in Connecticut, and then you go down to Alabama. So you go from, I'm going to be a few hours away, to I'm going to be down at the bottom of the United States of America when I've grown up here by the top, and now you're in an entirely different country. The way that this has been going, if we look at a map, is you went from New York to Connecticut, and then so you went south, like southeast. So you go south, and then you went more south to Alabama. Now you're more south to Costa Rica. So now the question becomes, where will we find you next? So,
Not sure. I know after the league, I will be returning back to Syracuse, so I'm excited to see my family, my friends, my loved ones. And then after that, whatever journey God takes me on, I'm ready.
So when you're in, like you said, you're playing this season, then you're coming back home. Bring me into the season. Bring me into the league and all of this. You know, what's the name of the league, the team? What is the schedule like? How long are you going to be playing? Give me everything you can on this Costa Rican opportunity that you have, because I know people watching and listening want to hear about it.
Yeah, so I play for a team called Universidad Nacional. It's a university just comprised of a lot of amazing females. I actually reside with one of my teammates at this time while I'm down here, and her family and her as well have been so welcoming as soon as I landed. Let's see, what else? The culture is amazing. The weather has been beautiful. Overall, it's been an amazing experience as I came here. I've been here for 2 weeks, going on 3 weeks now, and I will be here to about mid-October with the league. We just finished up our third game. Not going as we hoped right now, but I know that in time that we continue to work hard and just critique a little things in our game that we will be successful in the long run. And I'm just really excited to see where this journey in this league's about to go.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, I mean, you've been down there for a couple of weeks. You'll be down there till mid-October or so. So season-wise, is there, you know, game? How do kind of the games go? Like, what's the season? Is it 20 games? Is it 30 games? Is there a tournament at the end of all this? Is there opportunity for the postseason? Are you playing just within Costa Rica? Are you playing anybody from outside of there? Is there an opportunity to expand in the postseason? What do you know about kind of how the regular season and postseason go?
So we are currently in the regular season as of right now because
Yep.
It is a short league. So it's about 2 games per week, and we only get about 2 practices per week. The finals are, I would like to believe, is October 9th and October 10th is the finals, and we have play-ins. So about a week before, we will have play-ins to see which 2 teams will be in the finals. After that, it's completely over, just restarting for their college season that they have here, since I play for the university here at Costa Rica. And I'm excited to see what those ladies will do in that upcoming season, and hopefully to come back next year.
Yeah, and like you said, you know that no matter what happens, you're coming back home to Central New York. So I know you share with me off the air, but if you'd like to share with people what you're going to be doing, I think it's important in the world of sports to continue to bang home the fact of student athlete and not just athlete. And I know that you have, like you mentioned earlier on, a lot of interests in sports and in journalism and in things that you've been able to do. You also have a love for people and in helping people. So I'd love to share what outside of basketball you're going to be doing when you come back to Central New York.
Of course. When I return to Syracuse, I am employed to be a substitute teacher for the Syracuse City School District, and I am also a sports data entry operator for Sports Radar.
And what is the sports data entry operator? Bring me into that.
So I was also looking for remote jobs, and I really wanted to do something about sports and sports broadcasting because that is my study, and I've always been interested in that since youth as well. So I found this job online with Sports Radar and applied, in which I will be able to attend a variety of different sports from soccer, football, basketball, lacrosse, and I will be attending these games and entering data about the games and players and just recording the games and again reporting on them.
Now, is it going to be? Are we looking high school, college, or what are you going to be going out to?
I can go from high school to college depending on what division it is, D1, D2. There's professional leagues that I can also report on. It just depends on my training.
So, I mean, exciting opportunity for that and an opportunity to be a substitute teacher. What are your thoughts on being a teacher in the Syracuse City School District?
I'm excited. I hope to inspire and influence as many children as I can. I think that's a big thing for me as well. I know in school I had a lot of teachers that were very inspirational to me, and I still would keep in touch with them today if I was in Syracuse. But yeah, I hope to inspire the youth and just touch people's lives.
Well, Amani, I can say it. It echoes, but it speaks to your character, and it speaks to the quality of human being that you are. That the things that I knew about you way back when, I still see them today. So this world has not taken Amani away from Amani. And on top of that, the reasons why I hired you, they stand true today. So my question to you, it's a very important two-part question, is when you come back to Syracuse, when are we getting together? Because I think you owe me Cheesecake Factory now. So, but I didn't forget. But here's here's the thing: when are we getting back together? One, and two, when are we doing free talks?
Ooh, good questions. As soon as I can. I know I'll be starting teaching as soon as I return, and I'll also be working for Sports Radar. But whenever we get the chance, I would love to come and see you again and start up free talks once more.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, don't we?
That we do.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a minute, but Amani, it's very difficult to find the right people when you're looking for the things that I'm looking for and the things that you value. And you set the bar very high. And I say that in all the utmost respect, but I can honestly tell you that as we celebrate 12 years of my company and 21 years of being a broadcaster, I very much appreciate and hope that we're not done and we got more to do here, but I appreciate more than I can tell you the work that you've done. And, just working together with you, it's been a true honor in my life. And I don't have a long list of people in the media world that you feel, warm and fuzzy and that you connect with and whatnot too. I think over time you meet some really good people. But what I'm really trying to say is I don't think I could have hired a better person. And I don't think today, all these years later, I still don't think I could have hired a better person, and that's your fault. So take that with you.
It's been a blessing working with you. That experience was wonderful. It really expanded my sports broadcasting knowledge and got me out of my comfort zone with speaking and reporting. So I really appreciate you as well.
Well, we got work to do, Amani, when you get back here, but not before you go out there and enjoy your time in Costa Rica. And the final note that I have to make is, there's two final notes, but the first one is, how cool is this? I mean, when you were, 12 years old, you're like, I want to be a basketball player. You're out there training, you're doing everything you can. You wanted to play basketball. You envisioned yourself as a D1 athlete. You envisioned yourself as someone who could make it, and you made it. You are on a short list of people that can say that they are professional basketball players, professional athletes. Has the little girl inside of you taken that in and looked around and thought, wow, like this happened? You really can achieve your dreams.
I know for the first week it did shock me a lot, but then I came to realize that this is something I've always wanted. I've always envisioned myself, and God knew the plan for me, so I guess he heard me when I was about 6th grade, looking at Kobe Bryant and Maya Moore, say, oh yeah, I'm going to be like them one day.
Yeah, Lady Kobe, that's what she goes by. So, Amani, you've been great at answering my questions. You know, on my show, we do a thing called Rapid Fire. I am not going to put you on the hot seat. I am only going to put myself on the hot seat, and that's because I feel like it. So you're on a short list of people that I've trusted to work with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, so I'm going to play a special rule here. I will not ask you a question. You can ask me 3 questions, anything in the world, and I have to answer them. So it's been a minute since we've talked. I hope you got something good for me. You can throw anything at me. What do you got?
Okay, 3 questions.
3 questions.
How's life been since me being your intern? That'll be my first question.
Okay.
What are you looking forward to in the upcoming year? And what's one thing that you are working towards within the upcoming year as well?
Okay. So first one, how has life been since you've been my intern? Not the same. And I mean, life's been great, but you know, when you are around good people, you never stop missing them or missing what they bring to the table. So it's been sad not having you here, but it's been awesome to see you out there doing your thing and creating your life and being the person that you are. I mean, you're one of the people that I would very easily say is going to shine in this world. And, you know, you keep God first, you work hard, and there's so much in you. There's so much to value. I think if you were half of yourself, there would still be this incredible person. And I feel like you've come to see that and know that humbly. And so, I mean, how's it been? You know, we miss you here. My mom is always like, you know, Amani was just great. And I was like, yeah, I know. And, you know, my older niece and nephew and like that had met you and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it's not the same, but in a good way. I mean, working hard. I do what I do what I love what I do. What am I looking forward to? Man, I'm just looking forward to being alive. I'm looking forward to being surrounded by my loved ones. I'm looking forward to spending more time with Lily because I can always do a better job with that. I look forward to a world that loves each other again. I look forward to a world that wants to see each other succeed, that doesn't lie to each other, that has tough conversations, but ones that have to be had, and that we can grow through tough love instead of this kind of like dancing around and nobody wants to kind of like push anybody to be the best they can be. That's not how I was raised. And what is one thing in my world of what I do for a living that I look forward to? You know, challenging myself. There's a lot of things that I said that I wanted to do, and I didn't pick up the pen on one of them yet, and I need to. And on the other one, I've done a little bit more kind of thought about it, but I think, you know, I've come a long way with confidence. I've come a long way with not caring what people think, and I have to go over that threshold and not be afraid to be successful. I know that I can speak on a stage in front of 1 million people. I know that I can get them to listen. I know that I can get them to laugh. I just have to not be afraid of the good that comes from that. I think God's been trying to hand me gifts, and I think I've been like, oh, you know, I'm just, you know, what if I get it and like all this stuff works out? And he goes, right, what if you get it and all this stuff works out? So I think I just need to let it work out because I know I can do it. And so, yeah, I guess those would be my answers. That's what I got for you, Amani. So,
Great answers.
so with that being said, Miss Amani Free, Central New York. You know how I tell you all that you need to recruit Central and Upstate New York? Well, look at the picture next to me of Miss Amani Free. There are many wonderful people in our Central and Upstate New York community, and she is at the top of that list. So Amani Free, Costa Rica, pro basketball player. I love the fact that I get to say you're playing professional basketball. Gosh darn it, that's a great feeling. So go out there, play it. I hope in one of your games you score 21 points because it's my favorite number, and then you come out of the timeout and you score another 10 on top of that because don't stop at my favorite number. So Amani Free, awesome person, awesome basketball player, just out there living her dreams and being amazing. One of the beacons in this world that we can look forward to the future of what we got here. So Amani, I can't say enough, but when you get home, would be great to see you. Before that, I hope this time is long. I hope it's fun. I hope it goes by slowly and that you're healthy, safe, happy, and that you soak up every single piece of the blessing that God gave you and that you worked very, very hard for.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure working for you and being connected to you through all these years, and I'm just really grateful for you.
Amani Free. Don't call me Mr. Tortora anymore.
That will never change.
Always respectful. Miss Amani Free. So, Miss Free, I will talk with you soon. God bless you. Stay safe and go have fun.
Thank you. God bless you as well.
All right, take care. That coming from Amani Free here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. She always calls me Mr. Tortora, make me feel like I'm an old man. So, but I appreciate her so very much. She's the best. She's the best. And, you know, y'all heard, I mean, if you didn't know she was the best, you know she is now. And she's just an incredible human being. She really is. When you talk to someone and, like, you feel it in your face, like it warms your heart. I love seeing people succeed. You know, we need to do that in this world. We need to be happy to see everybody win. You know what I mean? When people are going out there, I'm not talking about people going out and do bad things, but people go out and do good things, you want to see them succeed. You know, I don't get mad when other people succeed. I don't get mad when I'm like, oh, that person worked really hard and they just got a podcasting award. Good for you, bro. Put it up on, you know, good for you, bro. Good for you, sis. Put it up on the shelf and awesome, man. You know, cry happy tears. That's great. You know, I think we need to be happy for each other's wins. I'm so happy for Amani. You know, she's just such an incredible human being. And when you get to see a person grow, like there's no substitute for that. There's no substitute for looking at a person and seeing how incredible they are and then seeing them see it or watching them grow. And it looks like they get it. They're getting it. You know, it just goes a long way. It goes a long way. And credit to Amani for working as hard as she has. And, I mean, let this be a sign for not just people in Central and Upstate New York. I mean, yeah, for our community, sure. But for people in general, let this be a sign to you that you can achieve greatness. You can achieve your dreams. I mean, Amani's doing it. She's doing it. And that, you know, it doesn't matter what country she plays in. She's playing pro ball. You know, she's playing pro basketball. Like, if you met this kid, when I met her, when she was like, I don't know, 5 feet tall, and you heard, you know, her talk about what she wanted to do and what she wanted to become, she did it. She's doing it. She's living it right now. Like, let Amani's story be the story that gets you off the couch. For real, for real. Let her story be the story that gets you off the couch. Because we got work to do, folks. We all got work to do. Right? We got dreams, aspirations. It doesn't pay to be scared. It doesn't pay to be worried. It doesn't pay to second guess and question ourselves. We got to stay focused. We got to stay humble. We got to get excited. And we got to go do it. So I hope you will all celebrate and send some prayers and well wishes to Amani. And to everybody out there that's living that life where you're being yourself. You're not apologizing for being who you are. You're loving your life. You're working hard. And you're doing the best you can. Because your best is good enough to the people that really, really care about you. Your best is good enough. I promise. It is. Your best is your best. And how dare anybody tell you that your best isn't good enough? It is. I've realized in life the people that critique you the most are the people that don't critique themselves enough. The people that critique you the most are the people that don't critique themselves enough. What do I mean by that? Do I mean that people should be second-guessing themselves? No. What I'm saying is people that normally comment on other people's lives, they need to kind of take care of what's going on with them. Not kind of, but they do. Happy people, they don't attack people. Happy people, you know what I mean? I don't have time. And anytime that, it slips out, right? I'm like, you're on the phone with your mom and you're like, this person's acting like this, and you call them a name and you say this and you say that. I get off the phone and I apologize to God. I don't want somebody to talk about me like that. And people say, well, Dan, they treated you poorly. It doesn't matter. I do not want someone to call me a name, so how dare me do it? And, listen, Amani that sat in my studio with me years ago, that woman talked about God. And after all these years and everything that could have changed her, she still talks about God. She talked about God more than anything else in that. She talked about God more than basketball in a conversation about her going to play pro basketball. She's the best. Costa Rica. Let's have some fun. Universidad. Let's go do it. Amani, be you. Be you. Put the work in. Pray. Number one. Put the work in. Do the best you can. Love yourself. You got it. And have fun with your teammate. Living with them and their family, and have fun with all your teammates. I hope you have the best time ever. Shout out to the Free family. To Mom and Dad. God bless y'all. Send y'all my love, as always. Nadira, Daryl, God bless. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We will be back after wonderful messages from the people that I have the pleasure of working with. When we come back, we will be bringing you more ACC football coverage. I had the blessing, thanks be to God, and the wonderful ACC, to speak with Boston College, speak with Louisville. You're going to hear from them first. So let me do this in order. Louisville, Boston College, and Clemson. From Louisville, you're going to hear from head coach Jeff Brom and student athletes. And then we'll get into Boston College and Clemson. So Jeff Brom's coming up after this break as we get set for the 2024-25 season. A look around the ACC continues with Louisville right after this. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business. I had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees. And as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York, to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. And in a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide on Facebook.com/wakeupcallDT, as well as on YouTube.com/wakeupcallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. You just saw that we also have our many platforms that you can reach out to us on: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. When you're on any one of these channels, click follow, click subscribe, so you never have to miss a broadcast again, as these will update for you in the libraries on each of these wonderful channels. So we appreciate y'all, and we thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm excited for the opportunity to continue the conversation on the ACC. You know, I've covered the ACC for over a decade and had the opportunity to speak with their many programs over time. They now have the most football members that they've ever had in the ACC. They have 17, including Georgia Tech, Florida State, SMU, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Cal, Stanford, as well as Virginia, Louisville, Boston College, Duke, Wake Forest, NC State, Clemson, North Carolina, and my home city of Syracuse, New York, Syracuse Orange. So today you're going to hear from the Louisville Cardinals, the Boston College Eagles, as well as the Clemson Tigers in that order. We're going to start with my Q&A with Louisville head coach Jeff Brom on what he had to say heading into the 2024-25 season. Coach Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Just looking back on your history, Howard Schnellenberger, your head coach that you had when you were at Louisville, those words of wisdom, those moments of wisdom that you can take with you, do you ever reach back to anything in the toolbox that he gave you?
Well, I was fortunate enough to play for Howard Schnellenberger, and Coach Schnellenberger had a tremendous history and past of only undefeated Super Bowl team in Miami Dolphin history. Took Miami to the national championship, built programs at Louisville, Florida Atlantic. But really, when I played for him, he was known as a quarterback guru, coached a lot of great quarterbacks at Alabama with Barry Bryant, and he did the Miami Dolphins. So the thing that I took from him the most is he was a master motivator. He got his teams to believe that they could beat anybody when they stepped on the field. He did it with him saying, outlandish things to the media, like we're on a collision course with the national championship, the only variable is time. But he wasn't scared to say those things. So because of it, his team believed that they could win. And while I may not be as braggadocious as that, we want our team to take the field and expect to win every time they go out there. So we definitely learned a great deal from him, and he achieved a lot. And even though he's not with us now, I'll never forget all those moments.
Coming from my question to Jeff Brom about playing for Coach Schnellenberger and what he took away from him, on a collision course to the national championship, the only thing between us is time, and just hearing different things like that, the only thing standing in their way is time. I appreciate him looking back, and I always love that. We see these coaches, we see these leaders, and we think about, like, who are they as leaders, but I like to go back to their story, their journey. Who did they have that was leading them? Who did they have that had, they're trying to make an impact in people's lives? Who made an impact in their life? Because I feel like there's always a story there to tell. I continue the conversation with Jeff Brom about the quarterback that he has going forward this season, that being Tyler Shuck, and this is what he had to say about him. Coach, bringing in Tyler at quarterback, just what you can say, what you saw from him at Texas Tech, and just why he was the right fit for your offense as you step forward into 2024.
Well, we're excited about Tyler and what he brings to the table. Anytime you can bring in a veteran quarterback that's been there and done that, that's handled adversity, that's had ups and downs, that's been able to experience that, that's had great success, but also a few failures along the way. And he's battle tested. We're excited about it. To this point, he's come in and he's been a great leader. He's worked really hard. He's put in the work. He's gained the respect of his teammates by working really hard with them and studying football with them and arranging that and making sure that our other players are doing it as well. But he's come here with a purpose. He has 1 year to play college football, and he wants to go out with a bang. And I think that if we can, play well around him and continue to improve our football team, he will definitely play at a high level. So we're excited about what he brings to the table, and we want him to have the best year he possibly can. And it's up to us as coaches to put him in the best position to do that, but we're going to work really hard at it.
Coach, to your right. Love hearing that. Tyler Shuck coming to the team from Texas Tech, and Tyler's got an opportunity now to do something with the Louisville Cardinals. Now, Jeff Brom, when he came back to his alma mater of Louisville, he did have some positive things that happened, and do want to give him some respect in his return, because Louisville is one of those teams that, I know from my hometown being Syracuse, when Syracuse plays Louisville, Louisville is going to, as the head coach of the Louisville Cardinals, and went to the Holiday Bowl. Before that, in 2014, 15, and 16, he was the head coach of Western Kentucky, went to 3 straight bowl games, won every one of those bowl games, the Bahamas Bowl, the Miami Beach Bowl, and the Boca Raton Bowl that Syracuse and South Florida played in most recently. Then he was the head coach of Purdue for 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22, 6 seasons. In those 6 seasons at Purdue, he went to a bowl game half of the time. So in 3 out of 6 seasons, they went to the postseason and won 2 out of 3 of those bowl games. The Foster Farms Bowl, lost in the Music City Bowl, and then won the Music City Bowl a few years later, lost in it in 2018-19, won it in 2021-22, and had only played 6 games in the COVID year, went 2-4. But we look at his records from 2014 to now: 8-5, 12-2, 10-3, 7-6, 6-7, 4-8, 2-4, 9-4, 8-5, and 10-4. So we look at the successes that he's had in all of his seasons. When we put it all together and we look at 10 years so far, we look at 3 years at Western Kentucky, 6 years at Purdue, and 1 season at Louisville, now going into his 2nd season. When we look at those 10 seasons, he only had 3 of those seasons were losing seasons. So in those 10 years, 7 out of 10 of those years have been winning seasons. And looking at those 10 seasons, he had 3 of those 10 that were 10 or more wins. And then when you add in 8 or 9 wins, at least 8 wins, you're looking at 6 seasons where he's had at least 8 wins in a season out of the 10 years that he's been a head coach at the collegiate level. So some good stuff coming from Jeff Brom. Speaking of good stuff, coming up next, we have here on the broadcast, Ashton Galati going to be joining here, my Q&A with Ashton Galati of the Louisville Cardinals and what he had to say. He has a little bit of an interesting question. I've never asked this question before. I don't know if I've ever asked it in 20 plus years a question. I know I've asked questions about hair before. I know I did one recently here, but I don't know if I've ever done it at the ACC. Defensive lineman Ashton Galati, I asked him about a unique thing that he has on his social media, and this is what Ashton had to say. I wanted him to show his personality. Here's Ashton Galati. Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. We know that the theme for you is beware the hair. How do you embody that on the fields, in practice, and in games?
I just try to play as tenaciously as I can. I try to be around the ball as much as I can, try to harass quarterbacks, just make my presence be known. Obviously, my hair comes out the back of the helmet, so that's kind of where the hair comes from. But I just try to give my best effort every play, try to be around the ball, be disruptive, and do what I can for my teammates.
So being out there, being disruptive, Ashton Galati, he'll have the opportunity to do that with the Louisville Cardinals on the defensive line this season. Next up here in our coverage of the ACC and our coverage of the Louisville Cardinals in my Q&As with the ACC, the next person that we have to share with you here today, which I'm very excited to do, is going to be defensive back Quincy Riley. And here's my Q&A with Quincy Riley as the Louisville Cardinals head into the 2024-25 season. Quincy, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. What's it like being on an island against you for a wide receiver?
Kind of scary. Like, when you're going to get the ball, you may not get the ball for the whole game. You just don't know what you're going to get. You just gotta know, like, it's gonna be hard. That's what I can say.
So I love that, what it's like to be on an island going up against him as a defensive back. He said, you may not get the ball the whole game. Big words coming from Quincy Riley. Looking forward to seeing him live up to those words this season in the ACC and beyond. My final conversation with the Louisville Cardinals heading into the 2024-25 college football season is with Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough coming from Texas Tech, as we had mentioned before, quarterback on this team for the Louisville Cardinals, and asked Jeff Brom about Tyler Shough and bringing him in, and now Tyler has his own words, is what he has to say. Tyler, for you, as Coach said, you have one more season, and obviously you want to end on a high note as you step forward. Why Louisville? Why was that the fit that made sense after Texas Tech?
I think for me it was being able to play under Coach Jeff Brom and Brian Brom and kind of their pedigree with quarterbacks in the past, and being able to put them in the league and keep them in the league, and their offensive system being it more complex, putting a lot on my plate, running a lot of formations, personnel groups. I think that was really attractive to me to come in there and be a part of a really good team and contribute to that with a high standard. So that was no doubt without my mind, this was the place to be.
That coming from Tyler Shough, who has one season, long career, went to Oregon in 2018, didn't see him out there. 2019, played in 5 games. 2020, got his COVID year there with Oregon, where we did get to see him to the tune of over 1,500 yards, 63.5% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Then he spent 3 seasons at Texas Tech, but he didn't play in a lot of games. And now we have him at Louisville. So Tyler Shough, and looking at that, this is like an NFL career. I mean, but this is what it's starting to look like with the COVID stuff and transfers and, being able to play the first 4 games and still consider it a redshirt year, and you can use that once. When you look at all of these things going on, added on to if you can get an injury waiver and whatnot, I mean, you look at this and you bring up his statistics sheet and you're like, you're thinking to yourself, is this real? 3 seasons at Oregon, 3 seasons at Texas Tech, and now he's at Louisville, but he's a college football player. Now, at Texas Tech, he had 3 seasons there. Went from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, and now, ironically, a bunch of Pac-12 teams are in the Big 12, but Oregon is not. They're in the Big 10. 69.6% completion percentage, 872 yards, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his first season at Texas Tech. Then he had 59.9% completion percentage, 1,304 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And last season at Texas Tech, his third season there, 60.4% completion percentage, 746 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This is his final season. Overall, when you put it all together, his completion percentage is a little bit above 63%. In college, he has had 4,625 yards passing, and he's had 36 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. And we have seen him play on the West Coast, in the middle of the country in Texas, and now kind of in that Midwest region in Kentucky, so with Louisville. So interesting to see him in not only 3 different schools, but 3 different parts of the country. Excited to see what he can do, and very much looking forward to what's going to be coming up here. So definitely appreciate Tyler Shough, as well as Ashton Galati and Quincy Riley, as well as head coach Jeff Brom, for joining me to speak on Louisville. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back to speak on Boston College right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, outside of holidays and whatnot. And, of course, this holiday that's coming up on Monday, we will be off on Monday. So I'm going to miss you on Labor Day. I'll still be out there doing some things. Lord knows I'll find some way to connect and whatnot, because I do what I love and I love what I do. But we will be off on Labor Day. I hope you'll be relaxing as well. And as you are off on Labor Day, you're going to be coming off of a tremendous week of football. I jokingly said there was like 20 games last night, and there was. So there was a ton of games last night in college football to start off this week. Officially week 1, because last week's being called week 0, which is very confusing. Just call it week 1. So, because 0 is like devoid of anything, and so let's just call it what it is. It's week 1. So week 1, what they're calling week 1, started last night. Ton of games. There's a bunch of games today, Friday. Then there's a massive slew of games on Saturday, per usual, for college football. And then we have a game on Sunday night. We have a game on Monday night. And then Thursday night, we're jumping back into the NFL, and here we go again. So I can't believe it, but we're back in football season. Perfect timing to put up my jersey. Shout out to my dude, Julian Wiggum, and shout out to the first jersey that I ever received, game-worn jersey, and signed by someone I know, John Stryevsky, kicker for Delaware that went into the Arena Football League and kicked for the Philadelphia Soul. Shout out to Stryevsky, and shout out to the man that wore my number 21, also his number, and then he wore number 1. Tremendous kid, awesome person, and seriously, just one of the kindest souls out there, and willing to do things that really show people that they're seen in his life, and that's the man Julian Wiggum. So shout out to my people. So we're going to take our time to go over to Boston College now. We're going to go from Louisville, Kentucky, and travel up and go to the Atlantic Coast. Remember the Atlantic Coast? Remember it's called the Atlantic Coast Conference, and there's teams that are on the Atlantic Coast. Now they're all over the country. But, hey, good for me, because I love it. I love the opportunity. Cal and Stanford have been great. SMU I've known for a long time. So I love it. It's just interesting that the conferences are named after places that they've obviously gone beyond, and they have numbers which they've gone beyond. The Big Ten has 18 schools. The Big 12 has 16. The Pac-12 is the Pac-2, and it's not dead, but it's not here right now, but it kind of is. So I got a theory that it's coming back in some way, shape, or form. I don't think it's gone. So Mom brought me up on General Hospital. I learned from soap operas, if you didn't see them die, they're not dead. And even if you saw them die, they could still come back to life. And that's how I feel about the Pac-12. So, with that being said, we're going to continue the college football conversation. Boston College is next. New head coach Bill O'Brien. He's been in the game for a long time. He was at Penn State. Then he went to the Houston Texans. Now he is the head coach of the Boston College Eagles. Massive hire for BC. Probably the biggest name hire they've had in a very long time. And Bill O'Brien, like other BC coaches, cares about recruiting Central and Upstate New York. And I spoke with him about that. They've had great ties to Christian Brothers Academy in Syracuse, my alma mater, and they have recruited the state of New York and Central and Upstate New York year after year after year. And I spoke with Bill O'Brien about it. This is what he had to say. Coach Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Boston College obviously has had a connection recruiting-wise with upstate New York. And coming from Syracuse, New York, I know that over the years there's been a lot of talent that's come through there. And I know that you've continued that bridge. What do you see in the state of New York and in upstate New York, those diamonds in the rough that maybe some other people don't see?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we try to do is, basically draw a 400-mile circle around Boston College, and we have to get the majority of our roster from that area where parents can drive to watch their sons play. Kids have grown up understanding what Boston College is all about. Doesn't mean we won't recruit other areas like down south or out west or in Texas. If there's a connection to Boston College, we'll certainly do that. But, our experience, especially now with Doug Marrone on the staff, who was the head coach at Syracuse, was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, that really helps. We have guys like Savon Huggins that have a real connection to North Jersey, New York City, which is really, really helpful to us. So, look, we got a long way to go. We just started out recruiting here. We got hired in February. I think we're on the right track, but we definitely want to recruit those areas, especially that area in New York and other areas, New England, North Jersey, all those areas that I think have, in the past, been a decent pipeline to Boston College.
Again, Coach, I like that coming from Bill O'Brien speaking on Central and Upstate New York, recruiting the area. Also talking about Jersey and, speaking on the New England area in general and making sure that they get these kids. It's important to them to go after those kids, and they have shown a lot of love to Central and Upstate New York, and I appreciate that. So with that, we continue our conversation with Boston College, and that conversation is going to go to quarterback who started at UCF. He was at Central Florida. Then he came over to BC last season, and Thomas Castellanos is back under center as the signal caller for BC, and it could be a huge weapon for them this season and a very hopeful run that they're looking to have. And they get to play Florida State on Monday night this week for week 1. Florida State played on week 0 in Ireland, lost to Georgia Tech. Florida State's opening up the 2024-25 season with conference games. First game that they had, conference game. Second game, conference game. BC traveling to Florida State this Monday for a Monday night game, the only college football game that's going to be on. So hopefully y'all be watching Bill O'Brien and Thomas Castellanos and the crew from Boston College and Mike Norvell and Florida State DJ Uyunglele and the team with the Seminoles as well. Coming up first is quarterback Thomas Castellanos. This is what he had to say when I had the opportunity to speak with him heading into the season. Thomas, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. When you look at all the success that you had last season and now having Bill O'Brien come in, what is it about the offense that you're most excited about going into this year? What are some of those wrinkles, some of those weapons that you have? What should we know about Boston College and the Eagles moving forward offensively?
I think what having Coach Bill will be, I'm not going to stop saying this, I think it's the best thing to happen to my career. He's been around a lot of great quarterbacks, and to be coaching me is it's an honor. I'm very thankful. But I can't really go into detail about the offense, but it'll be amazing. You see more explosive plays down the field, and me throwing the ball a lot more.
So Thomas Castellanos speaking on throwing the ball a lot more in this offense, saying I can't really get into it. I can't really tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you that he's going to be throwing the ball more, is what he says. That the ball is going to be coming from him a little bit more here through the air. We know he can do it on the ground, Thomas Castellanos, when you take a look at his statistics and what he did at Boston College as their quarterback last season, Thomas Castellanos, as we go back and look at what he's done as an Eagle, he had a 57.1% completion percentage last year, 2,146 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Obviously wants to minimize that. And he had another 11 touchdowns rushing. He had, on the ground, we saw him go 194 carries for 957 yards, just shy of being 1,000-yard back as a quarterback with 11 rushing touchdowns. So you put his numbers together overall last season, he had over 3,000 all-purpose yards running and throwing, and finished the season with 26 total touchdowns accounted for. So a lot of good stuff. I know he's looking to build on that, looking to minimize the interceptions, and looking forward to seeing what he can do from there. On the other side of the ball, this is somebody that's trying to create interceptions, trying to create a struggle for the quarterback, and that is Donovan Ezaraku, coming to us on the defensive line. And Donovan and I had the opportunity to speak going into this 2024-25 season in my coverage of Boston College. This is what Donovan had to say. Donovan, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. We know that the history of Boston College, as far as being in the trenches and defensively, there's a lot of positive history in that respect. Being a part of that, do you feel that? Do you feel what came before you when you're out there? Do you feel that on your shoulders? And if you do, what does that mean to you to be a part of Boston College defensively?
Yeah, it means a lot. I don't think it's like added pressure or anything like that. But it kind of hit home when, you know, you're on the sideline and you see a guy like Matthias Kiwanuka, you know, come up to you, he tapped me on the shoulder last year during one of the home games, and was just like, did you see this, that, and the third on the field? And just being able to be around, you know, guys like that who were in the same, you know, seats in the meeting room as myself, and who played at such a high level, you know, him being such a great player like that, it means a lot. And it's great to have those guys come back around, especially with, you know, Coach O'Brien. Those guys are coming back around now, around campus, and, you know, we're able to pick their brains now. You know, we're you know, able to, you know, get some tips and some tricks, and to be a part of that, you know, that whole legacy. I just want to cement myself as well, being one of those players as well. So.
Yeah, awesome to see something like that, and awesome to see that connection with the former student athletes, right? The alumni, the ones that are always part of the family, always part of the brotherhood. Again, I've echoed this for many, many years of my hometown of Syracuse, New York, that it made no logical sense to shut out the people that helped to build your program. Why would you not want to have alumni around your program? We're talking about people that care. We're talking about, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, someone that's an alum that's like not positive and not this, that, whatever. I'm talking about people that love where they came from, love what they built, love what they've done, means the world to them, and involving those people in the team that they built up. So shout out to the fact that Bill O'Brien's doing that, and it's great to see. And it's something that we need to see. We need to see everywhere. So good to hear from Donovan. Donovan Ezaraku, when you look at what Donovan has done in his career, and like I said, speaking on that history of being on the defensive side of the ball, he's a D-end for Boston College. And we know that Boston College, two things that Boston College is known for historically: running the ball, that punch down, drag out, right? They run the ball and they play harassment defense. Well, Donovan has been with the BC Eagles for 3 seasons. In his first season, he had 19 tackles and 2 sacks. He upped that to 60 tackles in 2022-23 and 7.5 sacks. Last season, he had 50 tackles and 2 sacks. So he's had at least 2 sacks so there's some people who don't have a sack in their career. He's had at least 2 sacks in all of his 3 seasons, 2, 7.5, and then 2. He comes into this season with 11.5 sacks, as well as 132 total tackles, 73 of those solo, and he has forced 5 fumbles. Donovan Ezaraku, beast. Excited to see him play. And the final conversation, and a shout out to Greg this morning. Good morning to you. Final Boston College conversation in my coverage of the Eagles going into the 2024-25 college football season is going to be with offensive lineman Drew Kendall, who I got to speak with him about what it's like to have someone who played offensive line and has coached offensive linemen in his career, and that being Doug Marrone, what it's like having him in the building. This is what Drew had to say.
True, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Doug Marrone's in the building, former offensive lineman, and has obviously worked in his career with the offensive line. Have you taken ample time to pick his brain about what you're doing and what you're trying to do at the next level?
Yeah, I've worked with Coach Marrone a lot now. The offensive line gets together and works with him a couple times a week over the summer. So we really enjoy doing that. So he also coached my dad when he was with the Jets, so we've bonded over that. Watched some of my dad's old tape, which was fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, he was a former head coach in the NFL, former head coach in college football, just was the Saints offensive line coach. So he's taught me a lot about some of the great centers he's coached, like Eric McCoy most recently, and how I can implement some of that into my game.
So that coming from Drew Kendall here and speaking on Doug Marrone and what it's like to have Doug Marrone in the building. The Boston College Eagles start off their season on a Monday night facing off against Florida State. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, the final fast break of today's broadcast, A Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll be back with the Clemson Tigers in my coverage of the ACC. You'll hear my Q&A with head coach Dabo Swinney, as well as Barrett Carter, a linebacker, my Q&A with him, my Q&A with quarterback Cade Klubnik, as well as running back Phil Maffa and defensive back RJ Mickens, all coming up right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is the sports card and trading card shop for you to go to. They have everything, folks. They're constantly bringing stuff in, and stuff's constantly going out because people know that there's great stuff at GG Cards and Breaks, and they're not going to wait on that stuff. Singles, graded cards, packs, boxes, so much great product at GG Cards and Breaks. They get some throwback stuff. They'll go and grab a box of baseball from 2021. They'll go find some basketball. They'll find some football that goes back a little bit here. Looking at draft picks and people that you may have wanted to go and get, right? Trevor Lawrence and whatnot. Or maybe you're hoping you got to see Jay Stroud, so they'll go get one of those boxes from last season. You never know what's going to be at GG Cards and Breaks. You got to get in there today. Besides sports, they also have Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Disney Lorcana, and Pokemon. And it is all on site, ever-changing, ever-growing. Josh and Anthony and the entire team, Alex, Joel, everybody, Kevin, they do a great job at GG Cards and Breaks. So go out and see them at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. We look forward to seeing you there. And as always, thank you for supporting local in Central and Upstate New York. Coming up next here, the Clemson Tigers, and my opportunity to speak with linebacker Barrett Carter is up first.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Just what you could say about everything that's been asked of you from Coach Sweeney as well as the staff, that extra that you give. So beyond the film, beyond the practice, what is that extra that's made you the player that you are?
I think our staff and Coach Sweeney, they've challenged me to become more of a leader. And I really taken that and tried to run with that ever since the season ended. Clemson, we've had a bunch of great leaders in the past. I want to be the next in line with that. But they've challenged me to become more of a vocal leader. And I've tried to do that every single day and just try to preach to our guys. Have the right mentality. And no matter what our coaches throw at us, just attack it head on. What should be good. But that's what they've asked me to do. And of course, I have a long way to go still. But I think I'm heading in the right direction.
Barrett saying that he's going in the right direction, feels like he has a long way to go, but focused on getting after it. And a shout out to the work that he's already put in. Another guy that's put in work, and a name that you know at Clemson, Phil Maffa, running back. That's what he had to say when I had the opportunity to speak with him.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Phil, just that relationship that you have with Cade and how that's evolved and how that's grown over time and what that looks like going into this season and having success on the offensive side.
My relationship with Cade has gotten great. We just took a trip down to Sea Island, spent a great time together, worshiping, fellowshipping, and he's my brother in Christ. I love that dude. He cares about this team so much, and he's taken a great step this offseason just to get closer to the guys and help to bring unity within the offense and defense. He stepped up as a vocal leader and just as field general out there, and I'm really proud of him, and I can see the offense doing really well this year because of the guys that came back. We got a lot of guys back, and got a new center. This is his fourth year, so he knows what to do. So I'm pretty confident in our offense.
That coming from Phil Maffa, and I love what he started with that as. He took a trip with quarterback Cade Klubnik, and he said he's my brother in Christ. That it's so much more than football. And for those of you that have watched and listened to what we've done here on Wake Up Call over the years, first and foremost, thank you. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to speak with Dabo Sweeney, and I asked him about his faith. It was one of my favorite moments ever. I waited 2 years for that. So, at least. Because I saw him talk about his faith when they won a national championship. And I credit Dabo for being Dabo. And what I mean by that is he's going to be himself no matter what. They tried in the national championship. The reporter was asking about, the game and this and the player and whatever, and he kept going back to God, going off of himself. It's not about me. It's about the kids. Talking about God first. Then it's like, Coach, what about you? What about you? He's like, nah, the kids. The kids did it. It's about the kids. Go talk to the kids. You could say whatever you want to say about Dabo Sweeney. He believes in Christ. He doesn't hide that. Got a strong faith. Doesn't hide that. Cares about these kids. Doesn't hide that. Wants to do things the right way. Doesn't hide that. So, I'm a fan. I respect the work that he's done and they're doing, and to hear that come from not just Dabo, but to come from Phil Maffa and say, my quarterback, not just my quarterback's really good and he throws really well. He's like, that's my brother in Christ. We just went on a trip. We just did some fellowship together. I've watched him get closer to the guys, build relationships with the guys. What did Phil say about Cade? He's faithful. He cares about Christ, cares about more than just football. He's working to get to know the guys and build relationships with the team, with his teammates. Not just he throws a really good pass. He could find you, coming across the middle. He could find you in a split second. No. That he's building relationships with his teammates. Because that is how a leader leads. Yes, touchdowns are great. Yes, finding a guy in time is great. That's all well and good. But the relationships is what creates the leader. Because how willing are you to be led by someone you don't know? You don't know what they stand for. You don't know who they are. You don't know what matters to them. If he's building relationships, he's letting people see him and he's seeing them. And that could create a better Cade Klubnik and a better offense and a better team for Clemson. Let's keep the conversations going. Next one up, R.J. Mickens, defensive back to the team for one more go-around.
RJ, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. To come back here and to put the NFL dreams on hold for a minute, what is it about this season and this Clemson football team that makes you believe the national stage is where you will be again?
Just having the people in that building, Coach Sweeney, Coach Kine, Coach West, Coach Riley on the offensive side, and then the guys in the locker room, really special group of guys, just seeing the work and the camaraderie, and, just those long days that I was talking about, just grinding, early mornings, late nights, just grinding in the facility and just putting in work. I just really got a lot of confidence in this bunch.
We're talking about the confidence that he has in the team, why he decided to come back. Think about that. Could have gone off to the NFL. He said, okay, next year. I got work to do. I want to go back to Barrett. Speaking about work to do, I want to go back to Barrett Carter and what he's done at linebacker. Dude had 4.5 sacks in 2022-23. He had 3 last season. Putting that work in. He has 65 tackles in 22-23. Had 59 last season. He also has 2 forced fumbles in his career. And to keep on the defensive side of the ball, when we take a look at R.J. Mickens and what he's done as a safety for the Clemson Tigers, by the numbers for R.J. Mickens, 4 seasons at Clemson, played sparingly in 2020 in the COVID year, so has extra time. And looking at what he did in 2021-22, 29 total tackles, 2 interceptions. 2022-23, 41 total tackles, 2 passes defended, 3 interceptions. Last season also had 41 total tackles, 3 passes defended. Didn't have an interception, but looking to see what he could do this time around as he has another run with the Clemson Tigers. As far as Phil Maffa goes, by the numbers, Phil Maffa 3 seasons in the backfield, all with the Clemson Tigers. 66 carries, 285 yards, 4.3 yards a carry, and 3 rushing touchdowns. 2022-23, upped from 66 carries to 91, 285 to 476 yards, 4.3 yards a carry to 5.2, and 3 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns. So he brought it all up. And watch this, folks. He brought it up again last year. I told you when I look at stats, I pay attention to those people that don't just raise up 1 or 2, but that they raise all of their stats from season to season. Because Maffa went to 168 carries last season, 894 yards, 5.3 yards a carry. So you give him, you go from 91 carries to 168 yards. Okay, so you add over 70 more carries, and you say, okay, if you add 70 more carries, plus he was going 5.2 yards a carry on 91 carries. You add another 70 plus carries. Is he going to stay consistent? He did, 5.3 yards a carry. He bumped it up 0.1 yards a carry. So when you gave him more work, his average didn't go down. Went from 4 touchdowns to 9 rushing touchdowns, Mr. Maffa. He has 1,772 yards in 3 seasons, 5.1 yards a carry on average, and 20 rushing touchdowns. So, excited to see Phil Maffa one more time in Clemson Orange. And he spoke about his quarterback, Cade Klubnik. Now you're going to see Cade Klubnik when I spoke to the signal caller. This is what Cade had to say.
Cade, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Where has that evolution come from for you that you've seen since you've been asked to be there as a signal caller and to be the leader of this offense? Where have you seen yourself evolve the most as you step into 2024?
I think just being able to manage the game. I look back at last season and throughout the year, being a full-time starter for a full year, I learned how to actually manage a game in a really efficient way, and I think that's one thing I got better at throughout the season. And one thing that I want to start off with really, really quickly in week one, and then just continue to get better at. So, that's been great. And then honestly, just leading, just using my voice and pushing guys, and just building as great as a camaraderie as I can build with my teammates, and with my O-line, with my receivers, with my running backs, tight ends. Just trying to be the best leader that I can be, and it's been great.
So that coming from Cade Klubnik here, talking about becoming a better leader. Last year, having the first season as the true starter in 2022-23, he was 31 of 46 for 67.4% completion percentage. Not too shabby, over 67% for a first-time college quarterback, and 377 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Last season as the starter, 260 completions on 413 attempts, still over 63%, 2,580 yards passing, 19 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, so kept his interceptions under double figures. And running the ball, he has 6 total touchdowns on the ground, it looks like here. He had 4 last season, 110 carries, 194 yards, not much, but did have 4 touchdowns, so maybe those short yardage QB sneaks and whatnot. And did catch a pass in 2022-23 for 19 yards. So a little trick play action. Cade Klubnik, as he goes into his second season as the leader of the Clemson Tigers offense, and looking to see what he could do. I picked the Clemson Tigers to win the ACC, and believing that time between Florida State and Clemson, picking who I was going to have win this ACC this season for 2024-25. Why did I pick Clemson over Florida State? Time in the system, time with the team. Cade has more time than DJ Uyunglele. Not saying that these guys don't have talent and moments where they've been good, but I trust a little bit more on Cade's side to give a slight edge over what I thought with DJ Uyunglele coming to Florida State. Not that I don't think Florida State's competitive. Not that I don't respect Mike Norvell. Check the tape. I've said all those things already. But I thought Cade Klubnik, his situation in Clemson, the time he spent there, is a little bit, maybe a hair, 51 to 49% ahead of DJ Uyunglele at Florida State, because that to me had more question marks. With that being said, we're going to hear from the head coach. In my coverage of the Clemson Tigers, I once again got to speak with one of my favorite coaches in the game of life, Dabo Swinney. Here he is, the Clemson head football coach and multi-time national champion. Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How are you, Coach?
I'm great. How you doing?
Doing well. Looking at this conference and SMU, Cal, Stanford, the additions here, you've seen over the years the evolution of the conference. How would you describe it now? We look at accomplished greatness as the moniker for it as we head into this season. What can you say about ACC football and how it looks now with this new portfolio nationally?
Yeah, it's exciting times. I mean, obviously, footprint has changed, and super excited about the 3 new teams coming in. I think it creates a lot of new storylines, new opportunity. Obviously, getting a chance to go to the West Coast and out to Texas as well. So I think that's great for the league. So it should be a lot of fun. I mean, it's you know the days of divisions and all that stuff are gone, and it's always been about winning this league. I think that's the main thing. And now, not only if you win the league, you have an opportunity to be in the playoff, but you got a great chance to get the bye. And so I think that's just makes it even more exciting because more teams, more competition. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, coming from Dabo Swinney here, speaking about the expansion of the ACC to include a team in Texas in SMU and 2 teams on the West Coast in the state of California with Cal Berkeley and Stanford. So, giving you coverage of the ACC every single season, and today getting to go deeper into the story of the Louisville Cardinals, the Boston College Eagles, and the Clemson Tigers in 2024-25. Appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com, worldwide, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, you can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, by going to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do, once again, on any one of these outlets is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You'll find us, subscribe to us, follow us, so you never miss another added episode again. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York: Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, GG Cards and Breaks, Brian's Landing, Ma and Pa's, who's currently at the New York State Fair. Go and visit them. Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, and Servomation. Servomation reimagining, reinventing, and reinvigorating what it means to have vending in your break room, in your school, in your university, college, wherever you may be. If vending was like this when I was growing up and I had a break, I would never leave to go get food somewhere else. I've been in their kitchen. I've seen, one, how massive the kitchen is. I've seen a bunch of the options that they have, which I never thought could ever be in a vending machine. I've saw the technology and learned about the technology. Servomation is so unique and so cool and so much fun, and I just love getting to learn more and more about it. So thank you to Brian Bruno and the team, and I hope that you listen to the message that's on the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. If you want to learn more on how you can have Servomation serve you, go to servomation.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time. You'll see student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni telling their stories here where sports meets life, and you can find the entire library of those stories on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the Lemoyne playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins by swimming over to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com, and make sure you go to Lemoyne today to celebrate the 2024 official jump off to the women's volleyball season. Susan Kim's second season as head coach, their second season in transition to Division I, and first time they've ever hosted an invitational, the Salt City Invitational, on site, on location. 2 matches today, one going on right now, another one tonight, and another one tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. All on the Heights at Ted Grant Court. Go and support Lemoyne women's volleyball and all of their sports. Shout out to the Dolphins and Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We call it the Bobcat Buzz, and we'll have you buzzing about a fantastic gem in our community. 2 campuses, one right up from downtown Syracuse on James Street in Syracuse, New York. The other right off of Route 57 in Liverpool across the street from Avicoli's, so you know that you'll be eating really good over at that campus. Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse has a unique way of connecting with student athletes that may have some eligibility left, as well as you who may want to get your degree that never got your degree. Or maybe you want to get a new degree. Maybe you're changing your path. You're going to chase your dreams now, and you always should. Don't wait. Don't wait. Get in touch with Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, esports, and baseball, all there. And we have our men's soccer specials that are going to be coming up to you very, very soon in the Bobcat Buzz on Wake Up Call exclusively. Can't wait to share those with you. Find all of our Bobcat content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. As run as fast as a Bobcat over there. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. When you see that big B, you know something awesome's coming up on Wake Up Call. We have Bearcat time exclusively every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Moments with Marshall, with Gene Marshall, Binghamton University Athletics Director, giving us an inside look at the Bearcats throughout the year, and the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their incredible stories, including most recent Olympian in Paris, Emily Mackay, who is a native of the southern tier of upstate New York, went to Binghamton University and just went and represented Binghamton University, represented her hometown, represented the state of New York, represented her family more than anything else in Paris as a member of Team USA for track. Awesome job for Emily Mackay. And for all the Bearcats telling their stories, have been so much fun. Dennis Kalina most recently told his story, the Deputy Director of Athletics and Chief Operating Officer. Find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist. You can also claw your way over to wakeupcalldt.com and see them on the homepage as well as on the exclusive partners tab. With that being said, as always, go Bearcats and find them on bubearcats.com. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com. So it's popping. Go and visit Ma and Pa's and the Spud Shack today at the New York State Fair all the way through Labor Day, which is this Monday, September 2nd. Shout out to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. See an all-new episode of The Light Between Us featuring Evan Breed on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Also brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero, our two awesome segments, The Light Between Us video series and Lead every Friday here on Wake Up Call. Love you, Jimmer. Happy belated birthday once again. You're the best. Top Dog of the Week, honoring Miss Amani Free from the wonderful team at K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, honoring a wonderful, incredible human being who has just gotten started spreading love, faith, and so many wonderful things. Goodness and positivity. We love you, Amani. I look forward to seeing you soon. And Costa Rica, you got a great one. Go out there and have fun. And I know you'll do a tremendous job in Costa Rica. I can't wait to see you build your story with God there in this next chapter that is currently being written. And of course, to the ACC, thank you to Jim Phillips, Amy Acola, and everyone at the ACC, Kevin Best, and so on and so forth, and everyone throughout history. I appreciate you all and send you all my love. And big time thanks to the Louisville Cardinals, Boston College Eagles, and Clemson Tigers for their time. And shout out to them as they kick off their season this week. And many thanks to Jeff Brown. I want to make sure we thank everybody here that was on the show today. So big time shout out to Louisville head coach Jeff Brom, as well as Austin Galati, Quincy Riley, and Tyler Shuck of the Louisville Cardinals, of Boston College. Big time thanks to their new head coach, Bill O'Brien, Thomas Castellanos, Donovan Ezaraku, and Drew Kendall. And a thanks to the Clemson Tigers head coach, Dabo Sweeney, Barrett Carter, Cade Klubnik, Phil Maffa, and R.J. Mickens. There's more to come on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are going to have another episode of Tortora and Elford. It is game week. And Isaac Elford is going to join me for Tortora and Elford inside a Wake Up Call, inside of our Wake Up Call studios. That's going to happen tonight. We're going to preview week 1, Syracuse hosting the Ohio Bobcats of the MAC. We'll talk about so much, including it's Fran Brown's first game as head coach and Fran Brown's first game as the head coach of the Orange. So first game ever as a head coach and first game as the head coach of the Syracuse Orange. We'll have that coming up tonight. So follow us back here for Ohio at Syracuse football preview, game 1 of the 2024-25 season for the Syracuse Orange. It is officially game week. I can't even believe that. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. All of those, as well as our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT, have my specials airing now that I put up last night with Syracuse kicker Brady Denneberg and Syracuse jack of all trades tight end Dan Villari. So make sure you check those out, as well as all of our content and what we like to call peeling back the orange in my Q&As with the Syracuse Orange. So check those out. There's so many things that are on there. You just go to our Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And on our video timeline, I'm just going to go through and tell you who's on here because we got a ton on our timeline. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody here from camp. But we have, my goodness, so many. We have head coach Fran Brown, running back LaQuint Allen, new wide receiver coming from Georgia, Jackson Meeks. I also have a Syracuse defensive coordinator, Elijah Robinson, offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, linebacker, Derek McDonald, defensive back, Elijah Cinco Clark. I have wide receiver and return specialist, Trevor Pena, as well as co-offensive coordinator and tight ends coach, Michael Johnson Sr., quarterback, Kyle McCord, offensive lineman, Enrique Cruz Jr., defensive lineman, Dennis Jaquez Jr., as well as DB Jaden Gould, tight end David Clement, who joined me from Christian Brothers Academy, Albany, when he was being recruited. I have DB's coach Joe Schaefer. I have defensive back who's returning to the team, Deuce Chestnut. Offensive tackle who's going to start at left tackle, who came in as a transfer, Demetrius Weatherspoon. I have, my goodness, there's so many on here. Associate head coach for offense and quarterbacks coach, Nunzio Campanelli, who is the interim head coach for the bowl game, the Boca Raton Bowl that Syracuse was in. I also have conversations here with backup quarterback Michael Johnson Jr., the son of Michael Johnson Sr., who I just mentioned has been on the show. I have the son of the offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, and former Washington Huskies running back, now at Syracuse, transferring in, Will Nixon. I have passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach Ross Douglas as well. These are all videos just through fall camp. Offensive line coach Dale Williams joining the show, as well as special teams coordinator James Villano joining the broadcast. And I mentioned Brady Denneberg and Dan Villari. That's just from fall camp. So you got a lot of things to go back and watch, folks. Those are all on our YouTube channel as well. So we'll see you over there. We'll see you tonight for game week, Tortora and Alfred on Wake Up Call. Game 1, Ohio at Syracuse. Fran Brown's first game as the head coach of the Orange and first game ever as a head coach in college football. Have a great day. Be safe. If you go to the fair, go to Mon Paz and the Spud Shack. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. God bless. No